Jamaica is bracing for a direct strike from Hurricane Melissa, a Category 5 system that is already the most powerful storm on the planet this year. Landfall is expected within hours, and conditions are deteriorating quickly as the hurricane's outer bands sweep across the island. An updated forecast track places Melissa roughly 150 miles west-southwest of Kingston, carrying maximum sustained winds of about 175 miles. In addition to destructive winds, forecasters warn of flash flooding, a life-threatening storm surge of up to 13 feet, and landslides. Mandatory evacuations have been ordered along portions of the coastline. U.S. Air Force hurricane hunters have penetrated the storm's eye, and the National Hurricane Center cautions that the eyewall could cause near-total structural failure in Jamaica, especially at higher elevations. The storm has already been blamed for at least 7 deaths across the Caribbean, including 3 in Jamaica. Reporting live from Kingston, CNN's Derek Van Dam describes a country approaching what appears to be an inevitable landfall from the strongest hurricane ever to strike the island nation. He notes that no part of Jamaica is likely to be spared as Melissa comes ashore in the coming hours. The storm's slow forward motion, only about 3 to 5 miles per hour, threatens to prolong the misery across the island. In Kingston, he says, the winds are already picking up and the rain intensified overnight, attempting to rest briefly before reporting at daybreak. He describes windows rattling as Norman Manley International Airport, visible from his hotel balcony, recorded a wind gust of 58 mph, even while the storm's center remained well offshore, approximately 115 miles away. The core of the inner eyewall, the most dangerous zone of this Category 5 hurricane, spans roughly 30 miles in diameter. Where that compact core makes landfall will be crucial, he adds, underscoring the familiar phrase that hurricanes are a game of miles. As the final approach targets Jamaica's south coast, the areas of greatest concern include St. Elizabeth Parish, Treasure Beach, and the Mandeville region. The island's terrain makes many communities particularly vulnerable. Large populations live in low-lying areas susceptible to flash flooding, mudslides, and landslides. Kingston itself sits in a bowl, encircled by mountains that rise above 7,000 feet. When torrential rain funnels down those slopes and converges with storm surge pushing inland from the sea, the opposing forces can drive water levels sharply higher along coastal neighborhoods, some of which remain occupied despite warnings. Van Dam points to early signs of damage on the outside of his building even as the worst weather has yet to arrive. He emphasizes that his team can quickly move indoors and will monitor conditions carefully, but he warns that the situation will rapidly deteriorate. He expresses concern for the people of Jamaica as the island faces what he calls an unthinkable day. Back in the studio, the anchor highlights how treacherous the setup has become even before full landfall. CNN meteorologist Alison Ginger outlines what to expect next. Conditions will deteriorate rapidly over the next few hours because landfall is imminent. The storm's center remains just south of Jamaica, moving north and northeast at roughly 5 miles per hour, still extremely slow, though twice the speed observed overnight. From there, the system is expected to continue drifting north, making landfall as a very powerful Category 5 storm, and only gradually, very gradually, weakening as it tracks over portions of eastern Cuba and then the Bahamas before finally emerging back over open water. Rainfall, Ginger stresses, is the dominant hazard, compounding the flooding risk with the added threat of landslides and mudslides. The outer bands already stretch across Jamaica and surrounding islands. Forecast totals show widespread accumulations of 6 to 12 inches, shaded in reds and pinks on meteorological maps. While those numbers might not sound extreme in isolation, many locations have already received about half a foot, meaning additional rain could push some areas beyond 20 inches before Melissa fully exits. Even as the storm eventually weakens, very strong winds will persist across Jamaica, Cuba, and the Bahamas, with gusts well over 100 mph, with soils saturated. It does not take much wind, 50 to 60 mph, to topple trees and power lines. Well, looking at the setup, she says, is terrifying. And Jamaica has never experienced a storm of this magnitude before. The network will continue to track the trajectory while staying in contact with crews on the ground throughout the day.